Hey guys, what's up? I am Maria Teresa Blausa and this is the Discussion Hour podcast. Today, we will be talking with a famous Filipino author of The Tortoise and the Monkey. So, Patricia?
May I introduce myself? I am Patricia Eraldi Canimo.
I am Melina Garcia and welcome to the Discussion Hour. Hey, I think I heard that the big guest is an author. Is that true?
Indeed, he is an author, a doctor, a political activist, a patriot, and a man of letters who was an inspiration to the Philippines nationalist movement.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jose Rizal.
Hola, Señora Zulweta y Señora Canimo. You might already know, but please let me introduce myself to you all formally. I am Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Rialonda.
Wow, you can speak Spanish.
What a long name you have there.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes, you have a long name. Is there a reason for you to shorten your name too?
Actually, there is. Back then, when I was studying in Manila at Jesuit Ateneo Municipal School, I changed my name into Jose Rizal for the sake of my brother.
Oh,
Yeah, my brother Pasiano Mercado was wanted by the colonial authorities for being an associate of the martyred priest.
I see then.
During those times, the surname Mercado was a hot name targeted by the Spaniards.
Oh, what a tough life you had.
earlier, but you said you were a doctor.
Well, yes, I'm a doctor. I wanted to become an eye specialist in order to treat my mother from an eye ailment.
Oh, nice.
I actually wanted to see you personally, sir. I've been a fan of yours since childhood. You know, your stories are just like wow. When I read one of your novels, especially the Noli Me Tangere, I was like, OMG, I love this one.
The novel Noli Me Tangere is a passionate exposure of the evils of Spanish rule in my beloved country, the Philippines.
Oh, that makes it interesting.
My motherland was under an abusive and oppressive foreign power, and I thought that through written works, I could open the eyes of both my countrymen and the Spanish authorities.
Oh, wow, you are indeed a great author.
Yes, he is. So what about the El Filibusterismo?
It continues the Noli Me Tangere's criticism of the abuses and corruption perpetrated by the Spanish government. I made it to show everyone how the Filipino lived during Spanish colonial period. I wanted to defend the Filipinos from foreign accusation of foolishness and lack of knowledge.
Excellent.
I wanted to fight them in peaceful yet powerful way.
Either serving Philippines national hero, Mr. Rizal.
Yes, you have.
You know, Les, I wonder why there's still some people who compare Jose Rizal with Andres Bonifacio.
Actually, there should be no competition as to who is better with or later between Rizal and Andres Bonifacio. They took different paths but both genuinely dedicated their lives to our country. The Philippines would not be the same as today without these two great men.
We also fought the Spaniards using different methods.
Yes, we fought using the pen.
While Andres fought using the sword.
Whether the pen is mightier than the sword, we both fought for the country to free the Philippines.
True. Oh, it's about time we end our discussion.
Time flies so fast.
Thank you, Sir Jose, for giving the discussion now the opportunity to talk with you.
We are so happy to have you.
You know, I was actually looking forward to meeting you too.
Oh my, thank you. And Anyway, goodbye everyone.
Have a nice day. Again, I am Patricia Dicanimo.
I am Yelena Nagzizulata, and our guest for today is Masari San.
Thank you for
Thank you for
watching.
And this is the discussion Iya.
Hello there, Marians. I am Evan Tony Navarro, and today we have a special guest. He was a Filipino poet, jurist, and one of the foremost statesmen. Let's all welcome Mr. Clara M. Recto. Well then, Mr. Recto, may you please introduce yourself?
Hello there, Marians. I am Clara Mayo Recto Jr. I was born in Tayang, Tayabas, now known as Quezon Province. I have graduated Bachelor of Arts in Ateneo de Manila in 1999 and Master of Law in the University of Santo Tomas, and I received a Doctor of Laws honorary degree from Central Philippine University in 1969.
Hello, Mr. Recto. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, actually.
That's great. Is there anything you want to say to them?
Yes, as you heard, I'm a jurist, poet, but I'm also a statesman in 1935. I was appointed by President Roosevelt as Associate Justice of the Philippine Supreme Court, and as a jurist, I stood at par with any international lawyer of fame.
Profile. I heard you're also called Abogado Milagroso, or Lawyer of Miracles, because of many victories in the judicial court. Anything else, sir?
I presided over the assembly that drafted the Philippine Constitution in 1934 to 1935 in accordance with the provisions of the Tidings-McDuffie Act and a preliminary step to independence.
And do you mind if I ask a few questions?
Yes, I don't mind at all.
Okay, so what books have you published?
I have published some books like Lara Ruta de Damasco, The Route to Damascus, 1918, and Sola entre las Sombras, Alone Among the Shadows, 1917. Both were produced and staged in the Manila Theatre Play in the mid-1950s.
That's amazing!
Yes, I also initially gained fame as a poet while a student at the University of Santo Tomas when I published a book, Bado las Cocoteras, Under the Coconut Trees, 1911. It is a Spanish poem.
That's great! Well, what was your most famous literary work?
One of my most famous literary works is The Shadow and Solitude, a play in one act.
I have an audience here that wants to ask a question. May we call Kyle Philip Evangelista?
Good morning, sir. I want to ask, when did you make The Shadow and Solitude, and what is moral lesson of this literary work?
I made The Shadow and Solitude in the year 1917. The play tells the audience to become faithful to your partners and give value to the people who care for you that much. It tells the reader or viewer on how to be contented because at the end, Actions which are already done can be taken back.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then, as a Filipino, can you say something about nationalism? What is the meaning of it?
Well, nationalism is nourished by a sense of its history. It is of its essence to know profoundly the past, so that we may be in complete oneness with the men who made that history, and in intimate communion with their thoughts, their deeds, and their noble lives. What I was trying to say is nationalism is the natural antagonist of colonialism.
Wow, you're right. I agree with that. We have an audience here that wants to ask a question. May we call Rain Yames.
Good morning, sir. I have a follow-up question. What are the basic components of nationalism?
One is the growing and deepening consciousness that we are distinct people with our own character and spirit, our own customs and traditions, our own ideals, our own way of thinking, our own way of life. What sets us apart as a people so distinct from any other are the experience and vicissitudes we have gone through together as a nation in our own environment. A Filipino cannot assert this identity and call himself a nationalist unless he is one with his people's history and has enshrined in his heart the precepts and examples of our heroes and martyrs.
Thank you for the information, sir.
Well, that's it for now. Do you have any message to our dear Mayans before we end this session?
Yes, thank you for having me here. I'm glad that I have shared my knowledge and thoughts to all.
Well, till next time. Thank you so much for your time despite of your busy schedules.
It's my honor. See you next time. Bye, Marians.
Thank you, Mayans. Have a great day.
Welcome to the Nature's Howl podcast, where we discuss the life itself is the most wonderful about the nature. I am Audrey, the host, and with me is Angelica, the co-host. Today, we will be talking about the wolf and the fairy with our special guest, Catherine Green, the guest. Today, on the show, we're excited to have Catherine Green, the author of the story, and she will be going to share or tell something about the masterpiece. But wait, who is Catherine? Let us now have Miss Catherine Green. Oh, hi Miss Catherine.
Oh, hello there.
And welcome to the podcast. So how is it going about the backstory of the titled The Wolf and the Fairy? Share us something about it.
Oh, on the story, she is a werewolf hunter, descendant from ancient fairies, destined to fulfill her role in the family business. He is a lone wolf. His family brutally turned away. Revenge his motivation for existence. The fairy and the wolf come together in a violent union. As this modern adult fairy tale gives us an alternative account of life in ancient Britain and how it has evolved in the present day.
On the story, Catherine, if you're the fairy, how will you guide the wolf to catch up upon you?
If I were the wolf, I would just follow the fairy, maybe, that she'll do for us, so we can just fulfill everything we can for our lives.
As you were the wolf, how can you handle all of the things that fairy asks you to do?
As if I can do all the things that the fairy give me that task. No, I'm just kidding. I'll just guide myself maybe or ask the fairy also for the help if I can take it the task alone. And even the task is hard or easy, gives me instructions or not, I'll follow it for sure. Or identify it well or understand it well so I can just do it.
Oh, I see. So how is it going about your life right now? Also, when you Catherine released the book of the story you have made, I hear that after you released it, it has been sold out on the bookstores in our area.
Yeah. I'm totally fine in my life right now. Then I'm also shocked that it has been sold out faster than I thought. But don't worry, for the other supporters of our story, we will release more copies of it for everyone who's been waiting for it.
Oh, wait, there's a general question from our audience, from Ken, Sebastian, and Mark. Are there any other novels written beside the ones mentioned?
My answer on your precious question itself is English Gothic novel, Vampire of Blackpool. These novels will show you the darker, sexier side of our favorite British seaside resorts. And yeah, thank you again for the supporters. I am Catherine Green, the author of the story, a British person who's always been fascinated by the supernatural world, and it feels so natural for me to write about vampires, werewolves, and other mystical creatures.
About the conversation with Catherine, we all have a great deal, don't we? Like savings, markdowns, and lunch specials. But when it comes to car insurance, you should know that the right place to go is an easy choice. It's State Farm offers surprisingly great rates for your ride. Your friends don't have to have a special connection or call in a special saver. State Farm has options that are built for everybody, like ensuring your ride and your home getting you a great rate on both. Why are these such surprisingly great rates? It's what you get from them. Coverage that meets your need because insurance should not put a hole in your wallet. Those good neighbors are in your corner. No promo codes, no waiting around for holiday deals, and no sales section. State Farm fits your life at a price that fits your budget. So when your friends ask where to go for surprisingly great rates, tell them State Farm. Because like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today. And thanks for enjoying the conversation with Catherine. Thanks for being here. And hey beautiful human, thanks for watching and listening on our Nature's Health podcast for today. And also, thanks Catherine for accepting our invite to be the show's guest for today's show.
Oh yeah, thanks for inviting me also. It is my honor.
Don't forget guys to always show positive feedbacks and stay safe. Thank you.
Hello, we are your hosts. I'm Zephyr.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Talk with the Authors.
Hannah. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good too. Hannah, do you know that our guest for today is an author that is a Filipino poet, literary critic, short story writer, and a painter, and he was awarded the National Artist of the Philippines title for literature in 1973, as well as the Guggenheim Fellowship in Creative Writing by Conrad Aiken.
Yes, and he used the pen name Dobeglion, which was a combination of the words dove, eagle, and lion, and was what he believed was his true persona. His notable works include The Anchored Angel, The Emperor's New Sonnet, and Footnote to Youth.
Correct! He's the one and only Jose Garcia Villa. Hello, Mr. Dobeglion.
Hello, Mr. Dobeglion. How are you, Mr. Dobeglion?
Doing great.
Mr. Dobeglion, when did you start writing poems?
At the age of 8, I wrote my first poem in the native language entitled Sa Aking Kabata, or in English, To My Fellow.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. So, Mr. Dobeglion, how many stories did you write?
My major works are Philippine short stories in 1928, Footnote to Youth in 1933, Many Voices in 1939, I've Come Here in 1941, Selected Poems on You in 1942, and a Dobeglion Book of Philippine Poetry in 1962.
Wow, that's a lot of poems.
So, to get started on our discussion about your work, what is your inspiration behind it?
My inspiration of my work is the one who influenced me because it all started from him.
Maybe we know who he is?
A few years ago, I published The Anchored Angel and was praised by the booklet's reviewer, Will Olson.
Now, let's talk about one of your latest short stories, Footnote to Youth. What is your purpose in writing a footnote to youth?
Footnote to Youth is the title of the story. It is called Footnote to Youth because it is a brief reminder for the Filipinos, especially the youth, of what real life could be today. It also indicates the sources or the causes why youth act this way.
This story seems interesting. Can you tell us more about the story of Footnote to Youth and what are the lessons that we will learn about the story?
Footnote to Youth is a 1932 short story set in the Philippines and centered on Dodong, a farmer's son who marries young. When 17-year-old Dodong decides to marry his sweetheart Tea, his father feels that Dodong is too young to marry but is unable to stop him. Dodong becomes a father 9 months after marrying Tea. The two go on to have many more children together, and both are often unhappy. At age 18, their eldest son Blas announces his own decision to marry, and Dodong knows he can do nothing to change Blas' mind. The moral of the story of the Footnote to Youth is that marriage is something that is taken seriously, because marriage, aside from being a sacrament, is something that is full of responsibilities. When you decide to get married and you do marry someone, there is no turning back.
Yes, that's true. We should not rush things because the feeling of rushing prevents you from experiencing fun things in life. Because you feel they will slow you down, and when you slow down, you feel guilty and left behind.
And waiting creates space in our life. Precious time to get in touch with what is going on inside you. It creates space to come to grips with what makes your heart beat faster, what is important to you. Don't waste it by filling it with rushing or busyness. Decision making also plays a vital role in management. It plays the most important role in the planning process.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful story to us. I hope the viewers learn something new, especially teenagers nowadays since they tend to be the most like Todo, wherein they tend to rush things and not think about the consequences that come with it.
I agree with you, Hannah, but I must say, is there any inspiration behind the story?
The inspiration behind my story, Footnote to Youth, like I said earlier, it is to remind the Filipinos of what life really is like today, since I see Filipino nowadays not taking life seriously.
I see. Oh no. It looks like our time is almost up. Nonetheless, it was an honor to have you here on our show.
The same goes for me. We hope you had fun too.
Thank you, and I did have fun discussing my work.
Before you go, do you have anything more to say for all the Filipinos out there?
All I can say is enjoy your life and think about your decisions carefully.
Thank you for being with us again, Mr. Jose Garcia Villa.
So, what do you think about him, Hannah?
All I can say is that he is really kind and humble, and all of his works are truly inspiring in different ways.
I agree. You can really see his respectfulness in his words. I think it's time to end up our podcast.
Right.
Again, we are your host. I'm Zephyr.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Talk with the Authors.
What's up mga everything? Welcome to our new podcast ng mga professional. Today morning, we will be having a very special someone. Sana all may special someone. Charot. Pero but we will be talking about someone who is a great story maker.
What's up mga professionals? Ako si Nash, yours truly na Clover Polly. And with me is a very beautiful girl, Julia.
What's up, Nash? And what's up mga professionals? And Nash, do you know the poem Raven?
Yes, I love the poem. The author was Edgar Allan Poe, right? He was a very unique writer and his way of writing is kind of sad.
Yes, but I think his work is very meaningful and intriguing. I heard that The Raven has a very tense story.
I think it's about a raven.
Siyempre, nasa title na nga eh.
Copy-paste lang eh, no? Now, how about we find out with our very special guest, Edgar Allan Poe?
Hello mga professionals, it is very delightful to be here.
So, Edgar Allan Poe. What do you prefer being called? Edgar, Allan, or Poe?
Well, Edgar would be a fine nickname for now.
But before we start, let us meet our very special guest. Okay, Edgar, how are you doing this fine morning?
I'm doing splendid and excited to be here in your podcast.
I read that your birthday is on January 19. Super belated happy birthday!
Thank you!
So Edgar, what is, or may we know, what is the inspiration that made you write your famous work, The Raven?
Well, I was inspired by The Raven from Charles Dickens' Barnaby Rudge.
Charles Dickens?
Charles Dickens, in full Charles John Hotham Dickens, English novelist, generally considered the greatest of the Victorian era. Dickens enjoyed a wider popularity during his lifetime than had any previous author.
Oh, so Charles is a very famous writer, right? How did you know him?
Found it on Google.
Oh, okay then. Back to the topic. What is The Raven?
The Raven is a narrative poem. The poem is often noted for its musicality, stylish language, and supernatural atmosphere. It tells of a talking raven mysterious visit to a distraught lover, raising the man slowly into madness.
Oh, so listen to madness. But why did the man go mad anyways?
The narrator became more furious because he thought that the raven was making fun of him and telling him to be sad about your love being dead. He thought the raven was sent from the devil to make him devastated about Leonor.
Well, I would be the same if it looks like someone was mocking my loved ones. Do you agree?
Yes, very indeed. The poem must be very sad for someone so dear and so sweet to the man dying. I would be devastatingly mad if something mocks my loved one.
Okay, now let's get back to the topic. What is the plot or the meaning of the story?
A man was sitting alone in his house. His love has died and he is mourning her loss, and the raven that symbolizes grief. That is the main story of the poem.
Why did you choose the raven to symbolize grief?
Yes, that is very intriguing. Why you didn't choose another animal?
Well, because the raven spoke in the story, I was thinking of putting a parrot, but I chose the raven instead because it suits the dark tone of the poem.
How did Lenore die in the poem?
Yes, I still don't know how she died in the story.
She died of illness tuberculosis.
Can you tell us more about the raven?
Well, the poem illustrates a man who is in a shoddy room, burning wood in the fireplace. He's mourning of his love Leonor to accompany his mind. He reads a book of ancient stories. Then a tapping sound alerts him, but when he opens the door, he only sees darkness.
But where's the raven?
The raven only symbolizes the grief and the man's sadness of the man that is mourning to his dead wife.
If you don't mind me asking, why did you even start writing?
I needed to financially support my aunt, and writing was all I know of making it.
You are a very famous writer. Then you must have a wife.
Yes, you must have one.
Yes, I am happily married to my wife Virginia Eliza Clempo.
Sana all.
So then, when you since you two got married?
Sheesh.
Well, Julia, we got married May 16, 1836, and it is the best day of my life.
Yan
Yan
ang
ang
when.
when.
It must be so romantic.
How long have you been to married?
Well, my wife, health has been wavered between near death and more promising days of garden tending and harp playing. On January 30, 1847, we were happily married 11 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yes. Condolence to your loss. I'm very
Thank
sorry.
you. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to a less sad topic.
I heard you have Gothic handwriting. Why did you use type of that style?
Well, I like to write stories that has a tense atmosphere, and my stories has very dark and sad theme to it.
But why is that?
Maybe my dark childhood gratefully influenced my works.
May I ask, what was your childhood like?
When I was 3 years old, both of my parents died, leave me to my godfather, and many times, many tragedies happened. I was
Okay.
addicted to many vices and got into many bad events, but I did went through it and became a writer.
It's so sad. How as a young child losing your parents?
Yes, indeed. It must be very hard for you. I'm very sorry for your loss.
But thankfully, you got through it and became famous.
Well, yes, and I am very proud of my work.
Well, thank you for sharing your wonderful stories and sharing further your works.
And thank you for your participation to mga professional podcast.
And thank you sa pakikinig sa aming mga chikahan at mga tanungan na even we are switching languages. We hope that you guys have a wonderful time to listening mga professional podcast.
Super Idol, the show.
Good morning, afternoon, evening mga shorty. Here back again with another episode here in Successfully Podcast. Where we can just chill and usap na together with greatest of all time. Writers mga body.
Correct ka dyan, bro. Ang panibagong episode, panibagong question of the episode.
Ang talino talaga ng director natin. Anyway, what the nakahandang katanungan ba?
Do you think you can be wise and in love at the same time?
Oh shit, grabe katanungan naman yan, bro.
Tama ka dyan, bro. Sa mga listeners natin dyan, mag-tweet lang kayo sa Tweety Birdie and use the hashtag TFSConyo Tegorate.
Sheesh, pero ikaw, bro, do you think you can?
During this age, I don't think so, bro.
Bakit naman, bro?
Kasi I think when we love at this pace, if you're privileged, your love will be written the way Romeo and Juliet is. Kung saan both of you are more likely to be blind with your feelings because you're still young, immature at this stage, rationalizing things occur, and there's nothing much to worry.
Yung bro, this lag salit ng answer mo. Let me just go and swing by Tweety Birdie and read ko lang mga answer ng ating mga listeners. Sabi ni Sasagar Crackling, hindi dahil, kaya nga ang daming mga colorblind na ang hilig sa red flag. Sasabihin nila mas gusto nila doon dahil mahilig sila sa challenges, mga eme. Umay, grabe naman yan. Kalma lang po.
It's a sign na rin for you to take the challenge. Maybe the best advice for you is to let them know that they need to learn from it. Let money lead the prayer, sabi. I think people can be wise and in love at the same time. People tend to overfill the word and meaning of love to the point of overstepping its boundary, leading on prioritizing the emotion that we feel, which is love, over our rational thoughts and thinking. But there are instances when we can simultaneously be wise and in love. We just need to know our limits and learn to differentiate and separate love and our rational thinking. Being in love is wise, but it is not always clever. We must know what we should prioritize, and it will be either our feelings, our mind. Damn, pati ka na pang Miss Universe.
To the new person who just entered, do you think you can be wise and in love at the same time?
Yes, you can be wise and be in love at the same time. There is a saying that you should not just follow love or what is in your heart. Your mind or brain should also be involved. Same perspective must be applied to being wise while being in love. If you use love only by itself, you will be blinded by what might come or its consequences. While, if you love and be wise at the same time, you're functioning with your mind with the right formulation to the right path in avoidance of the consequences.
Oh gee, wala William Shakespeare ang sagutan, bud.
Oh, let me welcome you, fam. Our GOAT, writer guest for today. Ang nag-iisa at walang may kayang i-plagiarize, William Shakespeare. Welcome, bro William. You have a lot of skills and achievements, ah. You're an English poet, playwright, and even an actor. Tapos you're widely regarded as the greatest writer in English language and world's preeminent dramatist.
Oh, damn bro. William, you had a lot of things that you accomplished in your life. With the passion you love, what advice do you want to give us? To give for us people na hindi pa rin alam kung ano ang gagawin nila in the future?
You need to think of something that you know you would love to do for the rest of your life. And there you go. You will do something you'll never regret.
Oh my gosh, William, I just realized it now. You're so big na. When we had our first episode, you're like to Totoy Baha. Ikaw may girlfriend ka na.
Oh yes, I'm married to the lady I'm ready to spend my whole life with.
Ay grabe, you two are really strong, ha? Both of you are still together until your time comes.
Yes, you're right, bro. We love each other. We stay together like we promised in front of God. Till then, do us apart.
Till that do us apart? That made me remember about the tragic romantic tale of Romeo and Juliet you've written. Shotty really hyped the story, huh?
You're right, dude. That made me wonder. What made you write this novel that just really captured the eyes of masses? Have you gone through some broken phase that you made come up with this tragedy?
Honestly, I've written that story experimentally. It is still early years of my writing career. I want to try something new and experiment some ideas with the things that I haven't seen yet in any other place in novels.
Oh, so pragmatically speaking, you have written it to earn money?
If ako yun, yes agad ang answer.
Yes, you're right.
Now that we're talking about money, both Romeo and Juliet's family is really wealthy and powerful. And yung feud between their family, do you think na it really did affect Romeo and Juliet's reckless behavior?
Sa tingin ko bro, yes. Kasi yung pagiging strict ng family nila and handling their situation badly, malaki talaga ang effect noon sa action ng mga adolescent. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. Even the writer himself agreed though JC stated. That's really my plan, to show how their family's stubborn and immature fight can affect the two characters. But I don't think now we should just justify their actions. We'll just give a path to explain why they have behaved in such a way.
That's why sa mga mommies and daddies, na listening to our podcast. Need po nating i-watch ang ating action, especially in front of our child. If they react in a maddening way, the only susi is communication.
May tama ka dyan, dude. Dapat we're chill lang, mga parents, para vibing lang tayo sa ating anak. Let's do the right way of raising a child like how William Shakespeare did.
Correct ka dyan, dude. And for the last minute na makasama ka namin, bro, William, curious talaga kami about what is the lesson that your story, Romeo and Juliet, have teach us about life.
Romeo and Juliet can teach you many life lessons, but lessons in books cannot change your life unless you are willing to make the change. Romeo and Juliet can teach us 3 life lessons. The first lesson is, don't make rash decisions. Let their reckless choices be chosen be a good example. The second lesson is, think through decisions. The third lesson is, young love or infatuation is not a good reason to kill.
Good day, peeps! So today at Quarantine Podcast, you're here with me, your host, Julie Rivero, along with my co-host,
Roger, and today here with us is one of the best, if not the best playwriters of the history, Mr. William Shakespeare.
Greetings, greetings! It is sureth a wonderful evening with thy gent and lady, for whom to accompany me as your honored guest.
One of the most known playwrights of the history. Who inspired you to be one?
For to be admired is to admire another, and I clearly not accept. For even thy greatest magnus opus, ye shall learn of my greatest inspiration, who is one to go by the name Chaucer, in thou absolute works of wonder.
So, Mr. Shakespeare, you have written at least 38 plays, which is a lot. Which one is your favorite?
Oh, is that so? Well, I am certainly surprised to ask a creator whose creation spread far and wide. I value and cherish all of thee, but for preference I shall ask you this instead. Which one I've worked upon countless hours, so that I may give in thee to see thou grief, joy, delusions, and of which we all hate yet cherish with slight delight. Revenge! Answer me that thy counsel as I await for thee.
Ah yes, Hamlet, one of my favorite plays of yours. Hamlet is also considered as Shakespeare's greatest play.
Yes, yes, yes! The curtain opens with the sole proprietor Hamlet, to whom's addressed and summeth by thine once great king of Denmark, his father, that now proclaims that he's been murdered by his uncle and now new king. Claudius, O thy tragedy! It flows recklessly with blood.
The play is actually full of revenge and greed, like how Claudius had to poison King Hamlet to take over the throne for power. And then it also shows how determined Hamlet is to avenge for his father. And it's really tragic since almost every person in or characters rather, in the play are dead by the end. So it's actually really sad, but it also shows how people will do everything, like almost every people or maybe most people will do everything to get what they wanted, and most of them want money, power, social status, and sometimes they have to go far and cross boundaries and limitations.
Indeed, madame, for revenge would be Hamlet's undoing, as he plotted and schemed to end his uncle's tyrannical regime, which he's unrightfully stolen. But of course, in the end, in a tragic twist of fate, the two lay in the graves of their own mistake. Hamlet is a story of great folly, and for that it carries out plenty of tragic lessons.
Lesson learned, kids, that greed won't take you anywhere. So always be satisfied for everything that you have right now. Just be happy about it.
That most of your plays and tragically.
As much as I love your plays and I read almost every one of them, it's still a wonder how most of your plays.
Well, with I respect gent and madame, it is done so with a purpose, as to mirror thy gloomy reality we reside in akin to a speck of light dying amidst the wind, like Hamlet, of whom exact his revenge at the cost of his own life. I write to show the truth in reality, in what we can learn from it. Even if thy remain fiction, we can still learn from thy consequences. That is all.
Thank you, people, for listening to our podcast, and thank you, Sir William Shakespeare, for being here with us today and for answering all of our questions for you. And again, this is your host, Jewel Rivera.
It is a pleasure to have you, Mr. Shakespeare. And I'm Christian Roger, and we'll see you again next time, here at Quarantine Podcast. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Always stay safe, wear a mask if you're going outside, and we'll see you again next time.
Introducing our two gorgeous men seated in the hot topics of ancient literary. By the way, welcome to today's enthralling, old but fascinating talks of ancient talks. We welcome you today, ladies and gentlemen, with hugs and kisses as we guide you through this one-of-a-lifetime interview with our special guest for today, who put effort in traveling from the 580s all the way to today to meet you guys and to be interviewed by our one and only Big Daddy Sam.
Give it to me like.
Namaste. Good day everyone. I'm your host, and today in the seats of literary history, the legend of Indian works, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to Kalidasa.
Namaste. Nice to meet people from the future, huh? Very appealing.
Do you mind, sir, telling me and the viewers about yourself first?
I was a great man back then. I wrote poems and plays, left, right, and center. They referred to me as a classical Sanskrit author because of my remarkable playwrights and my being dramatist, not to brag, but I think I influenced an entire civilization due to my greatness.
Wow, an entire civilization? You really are an essence when it comes to playwrights and stuffs. Nevertheless, sir, what are your hobbies? I mean the things you do before you became what you are known today, being an author and poet or such.
At that time, I was the court poet of King Vikramaditya, Eugene, and I wrote many plays and poems in Sanskrit before all that happened. At that time, I can go to school because I was a poor boy, so I'm the one that tended the ships of my father. And a long time ago, in a nervous city, there was a beautiful and intelligent daughter of a king, and her name was Vidyawati. And she said that whoever can answer her questions will be her husband. But many warriors and kings and learned men tried to figure out the questions, but they can't. So they had been disappointed, and she laughed at them. They are very angry with her and wanted to teach her a lesson. One day, they saw me in the tree, who cutting a branch of tree which I was sitting, and later soon I'll fall. They suddenly asked me to go with them to the city. I agree, and there my condition became good and good, like a great scholar, and they ordered me what to do. We went to the king's palace to talk to the princess by using all the gestures, and eventually I answered her question, and she married me. And after all of this, she found out the learned man tricked him, so she ordered me to go to the Kali temple tonight. And that night, she said to open the door. She said to open the door that the God will bless me with wisdom, and don't open if not, if the God is agree. Meanwhile, the God Kali came, and the God agreed to bless me with wisdom. He wrote the sacred letters of the Sanskrit language on his tongue, and when I came back to the princess, she was proud of me that I could sing a beautiful poems in Sanskrit, and there I became a great poet.
Wow, sir, that was a great story of yours. Why did the people back then and until now call you the Shakespeare of India?
According to their acquaintance with me, they acclaim me as Indian Shakespeare, and I wrote my works of poetry, plays, epics, drama, and etc. as having its own quality for myself, and according to all, I'm a cultural person. I became the enthusiasm of the man. I value women a lot, and besides that, I know poets like Kabiko Laguru, the Lord of Poets, and the Vinyasa, graceful play of the muse of poetry.
So your name Kalidasa came from the worshipper of Shiva, or the name Kalidasa means God Kali, or servant of Kali. Wow. So sir, speaking of an alternative name, some viewers might be curious about your real name. Care to tell us your real name?
I am a worshipper of Shiva, and I wrote plays, poems that are mainly based on Hindu mythology and philosophy. My name Kalidas means from the god Kali, or literally servant of Kali.
So sir, what comes to your mind that helped you make the play Shakuntala that blew up to many people?
About the Shakuntala is about the love affair of two. The plot is based upon love affair, secret marriage, separation and unification and reunion of immortal, love of Dishanta and Shakuntala. This theme is based on the Indian philosophy that true love is immortal.
May I ask, sir, what would be your most liked or favorite one among your magnificent works?
The Vijayana Shakuntala is one of my favorite dramas, or written for all Sanskrit literary composition, and this one have made has become popular and is generally judged by the commoners for the best and effortless making of such literary famous in any era. That's it. Thank you very much.